How's it going, people? Howdy, Mr. Henry. Oh, Henry. Sorry. Howdy, Marco. Saying hi to Henry. Henry G, if you're back, hello. And let me get started here. I have a couple things I want to go over today. Let me check. Is the audio working okay? Looks like it is. Please let me know. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me okay. First, I'm going to open up the old fixed blade assembly. I'm going to just show what the, thanks, Marco. Appreciate that. Let's don't rebuild this. Assembly not up to date. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So when I created this, I created parts in the context of the assembly. So I created the blade and then I created this as a part in the assembly, etc. And when you do that, you get external references. And the way you can tell that you have external references I can't see. So I think they're just, see, this is an external reference. If you have a little arrow, it means that there's an external reference. So, and that just means that this part is created in the context of some other part. So to get rid of those, we have to figure out what is referenced. Let's start here. Let's edit this component. This button head cap screw, the bore has an external reference. And you can see that this sketch is the one that has an external reference. So we will edit that sketch. Try to figure out what the external reference is. So in the context of the assembly, this might be a bad example because I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, we might have to get back to this. So for that subject, we'll go back to that some other time. Because apparently didn't read up quite enough on it. Let's go back to the folder. Open the assembly. I'm not going to I'll do a rebuild. I don't know why, but. So I'm probably going to get rid of some of these mates. One thing I didn't do is I want to fix this scale so that this stays in place all the time, and the blade, I already did that one. I thought I didn't save that. Okay, but there's no limits. All right, so let's go to the mates. Let's get rid of these and start over. So now this is fixed, so you can't move it. The blade isn't fixed, so you can move it wherever you want. So first, let's do a mate, and we'll mate this surface with this, but we don't want it to contact it. So you go down here, and you can set a distance that you want this surface from this surface. And I'm going to go 1/32 of an inch. And the reason for that is because I'm going to use 1/16 inch bearings. So I'm going to put a 1/32 of an inch recess in here, or more than that. But I'll put a steel washer in the titanium scale, or whatever this scale ends up being, so that the center of the bearing is even with the surface of this. So half of that distance is the distance I want to this blade. So I made that 1/32, and if you do that, it automatically changes it to a fractional. So now you can see that there's it's hard to see, but let's finish this. There's 1/32 of an inch distance between them, which is a little hard to show. You can see there. Anyway, that's just for now. I might not end up using that size bearing. So let's finish this. So to constrain and have a rotational constraint, we want to show the axes of these cylinder cutouts. So you have to go to Insert, oh, we got to get out of mate, I think. No, wait. Where are we at? Oh, View, Hide and Show. And we want to show the temporary axes. If you do that, then you can see the axis shows up. It's visible. So now we can go back to mate and mate this axis with this axis. So if I just finish that, now it's fixed on that axis, so we can rotate it. But we don't want a full rotation here. We want to set some limits. Welcome back, Henry G. and Mick Ranger. Hello. Hey, Flying Feline. Everyone go subscribe to Flying Feline and she's Flying Feline Designs on Instagram. If you want to buy one of those knife stands that we designed here, you want to hit her up for that. So we have that rotational constraint, but we want to add limits. So what we have to do is, let's finish that. We want to add another constraint that limits the amount that we can rotate. So what we'll do is go to Mate, we'll go to Advanced, we will pick this and this, and then the angle. And here you set the minimum and start it at 0. And the maximum of 180. And I think this is what I want to do. Or do I want to change that? So let's try that. So now I have, you can set a maximum and a minimum. This might not be right. So let's try it and see what happens. Yeah, see, that's wrong. So if we go back there, start at 0. Oh, that's not what we want either. We want to go back to that mate that we created, the limit angle, edit that. Let's flip the dimension, see if that works. Yeah, so there now, the maximum is 180 and the minimum is 0. We could change it to a little bit over 180 so that we could tuck that in, but we're not done here, so we'll probably move the pivot and so forth. But now we have that limit angle mate so that we can study what it'll look like during opening and closing. How's it going, Rolf? Looks like Marco posted Flying Felines link. Everyone go there, subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe to her on Instagram at Flying Feline Designs. Hey, knives are life. That's okay. It's okay that you're late. These live streams aren't all that anyway. So late is fine. So we got that in there. What do we want to do now? Let me go ahead and let's change this pivot location. Let's go first edit the blade, edit component. Let's find that hole. Here's the dowel hole. Let's change the sketch of that. That's not quite what I wanted. Let's exit that. Is this the sketch that places it? That's not it. Where are we at? Why is that? How did I hide it? I don't know what I'm doing, clearly. How did I hide that blade? Let's undo whatever we did. Let's just start over. Let's not save. So open this assembly, rebuild it. This doesn't, so we'll, the more you do things, the more you learn, right? The more times you repeat. So let's fix this scale. Let's go to the mates that exist and delete them. Start over. So now we should be able to move that, but not this. Okay. So now we want to go back to mate. Make this surface from this surface distance of 1/32. No. That's not what we want. We want an eighth. We don't want to have it. We want to double it. Or do we? Let me think here. Yeah, 1/32. Oops. Mate. It had that other side pre-selected, so there. Now we have that. We'll go to view, show that temporary axes. And we'll constrain those axes. Now we should be able to move this. I'll put a limiting constraint in between this and this. Advanced angle. We want to start at 180. Zero. No. We want this to be 0. Let's try this. I think I did it wrong again. No, that's right. There. So we got that back in there. Now, let's save it before we try anything else. Rebuild it and save it. I don't know why it's rebuilding it. Shouldn't have any external references except to each other because these are all external references. But I don't see any external references in the part itself, which is good. How's it going, Gonzo? Everyone go subscribe to Gonzo. I think he lost subscribers, so go subscribe to him. Beg him to give us some content so that people quit unsubscribing so that he can have a 1,500 subscriber giveaway. Yeah, back on to 1488. I know it was over 1490, right? Now it's 1488. Let's go fix that. I could probably documents, YouTube links, Gonzo. Everyone go subscribe to Gonzo. Do it. Mick Ranger wants a camber. I forget if I have any right now or not. I think I do. I haven't been in my safe in a while. I know I got a Pro Carry, an old Pro Carry. All black, simple one from way back. But I've been carrying my Walther P99s lately. I just like the ergonomics, and I do really well with them at the range. So let's try this again. But this time, let's just try to work in, instead of working in the context of an assembly, let's open up the blade or the handle by itself. Let's open up the scale so we can try to sketch. I don't remember. I don't know why that sketch looks like that, but now we can move this. And I'm going to try moving this. Let's try this. Insert features. Oh, let's get out of this sketch. So the origin is right there. Why does the origin change? So try to insert feature. There should be a move copy. Pick the solid body. I want to move it. You could probably constrain, there's probably a way to constrain it, but I just want to have the origin close to the center of that hole for no particular reason. Of course, that'll change now if I go and edit that sketch and move that. But let's move the hole, the pivot, a little closer to the center. And we have to update the boss, and it moves it. You see that it moved up. Now that that's done, let's save this. Where's the origin at? Yeah, so now I'd have to go back in and move it again. Let's try it and see if insert, feature, move, copy, pick this. And there's no way to select the. Let's make this coincident. This coincident. There's no way to select the origin. Concentric. Yeah, I don't know how to do that, so we'll just eyeball it for now. Maybe that'll be next week's task for me to figure out how to get this centered exactly on the origin. But let's go to insert, features, move, copy, and where did that? Not sure why it's not working now. What am I doing wrong? Origin. Insert, features, move, copy. I think I have to select something else. Oh, translate, rotate. Now if I look, I can get it pretty close to. I think that might be rotated or something. Oh, never mind. It's showing the shadow of the old one, and the shadow is where you're moving it to. So let's do that. Now it's close to the center of the origin. It's good enough for government work. Let's save this. Open up the blade. Now we can open up the assembly. Rebuild it. So now the blade, we want to move that hole. Let's get some measurements first. Evaluate, measure from this axis to this plane. 11.9. 11.9. Oh, my assembly is in metric. I didn't change the template for the assemblies to be metric yet. So let's go here and see if we can figure out how to change it. Document properties, units, inches. So now let's measure from here to here, 0.47 inches. So if we go to the blade, edit that component, I should be able to move that hole. we can put a smart dimension from here to here. It should be 0.47. We could put more constraints on there, and you would want to fully constrain it if you were going into production. But for us, for now, this is good enough, and these should be lined up. So now let's stop editing that component and see if yeah. So now when we're at 180, the tip isn't exposed. So you won't cut your little finger. What am I missing in chat? The rapide is so nice. Yeah, I'm not familiar with anything new. Haven't been following that world at all. So this is semi-realistic for a fake knife, huh? What do we want to do now? Let's go work on the handle. Add a component. Let's add a recess for the bearing. Do an extrusion on this face. Make a circle from here. No, that's not what we want. Let's exit out of this and isolate. If you isolate the scale, it should hide everything else. So now we can work on the scale. We still have the assembly open, so once we're done, we can exit the isolation. That'll bring the blade back into the assembly, at least the visibility of it. So now we can edit this component. Do an extruded cut on this plane. Do a circle. From the center. I don't know how big those bearings are, but let's just go with like something like that for now. Exit the sketch. And we want the depth to be D1 to be 1/32. No, let's see. So we put a steel washer in there. Maybe we'll go with 1/16. So we'll have 1/16 bearing and then a 1/16 steel washer stainless steel washer. And I don't know how accurate that is, but it's good enough for what we're doing. Exit the isolation. So now we have a pocket that we can throw our bearing in. Yeah, I don't know. I need to measure some skiffs and see what. When I do a real knife, and I'll be a little more accurate. But if I design one, it will definitely follow a standard bearing or skiff bearing. Follow a standard bearing that skiff makes replacements for. So I don't know if I had a Chinese maker build me some knives, I wouldn't worry too much about them being skiffs, but to keep the price down. But I would want standard size so that the owner could put skiffs in it if they so choose. So I noticed that let's add a little, I don't like that's out too far for one thing. Went a little closer to the pivot. Then we'll add a cutout here. Some contouring. What was that feature? This boss. Edit this sketch. Actually, let's make this smaller. Let's make that like 1/8 of an inch from there. Let's edit this extrusion. Let's throw a dimension on here. From here to here. So when you're designing something, you want one base datum to dimension everything from. And a logical place to start would be the center of this hole. And you could dimension everything off of that so that you don't get tolerance stacking and things moving around. This would be the origin point of everything. Let's change that to like 0.75 for now. That'll be a little better. Not sure why that other one disappeared. What did I do wrong? Oh, we need to dimension that. I see. So it's from the center. Need another dimension on. Oops. Let's get rid of that coincidence. We want to keep this and this horizontal. So now this is always centered with that, so I shouldn't be able to move it. I can resize it, but I can't move it. Let's exit that sketch. Now we have that. That should be a little better. Of course, this is a terrible live. I got to do terrible live so that yours look a little better. But hello, the Night's Edge. If people didn't do terrible lives, then yours wouldn't even look acceptable. You know what I'm saying, homie? Let's put an extrusion on here. Edit this component. Let's isolate it. Throw a sketch on this surface. Let's do a center point arc from here. There. Bada bing. Do another one from here to here to there. It's not what I wanted. Get rid of that. I think we can do a slot and then delete it. Delete half of it. This is a little crude, but we like crude, don't we? Now let's draw a line from here to here. Now we should be able to trim this. And yes, we want to destroy the slot entirely. Get out of this trim. Delete that. Actually, we could have left the slot there. Let's go back. Yeah. We'll edit the sketch. Now let's do an extrusion. And someone's at the door. Not able to go get the door right now. Do an extruded cut. We want to go up to next. And we have that. We can move it later. Let's take this back out of isolation. Exit isolation. Edit this sketch. Oh, we forgot to update this. And yes, I know this is very crude, but this is just a fake knife for practice. So now you can almost get to it. We could add some chamfers here to make it more accessible, or fillets. It still kind of looks like a knife object, though, no matter what TKE says. So we got the limits on the rotational axis. What did we do here? Those holes aren't the same size, so that's a 1/4 inch dowel hole. And this should be a 1/4 inch hole. Must be some tolerance on that dowel hole. Let's get rid of the tolerance and see if that helps. Yeah, I think so. I think they're exactly the same diameter now. And I don't even know if 1/4 inch is what we want on there, but it's good enough for government work. So now we got to decide if we want to have external or internal stop pins. Like captive, or I have some ideas for a real knife, but for this fake knife, I don't think I really care either way. Yeah, 48 minutes. I don't know. We might just end it soon. Yeah, Mick, let's get Gonzo to 1500. Let's get Gonzo to 1520 in case, he loses some subscribers for lack of content. Let's save. Save all. Rebuild and save the document. I'm not sure why it keeps asking me to rebuild. I don't have any external references. I'll have to look into that. Hey, Robert Willoughby. How's it going? If you're interested in the subject, we added some mating constraints on this axis, and then we did angle limits so that it won't go more than this far open or this far closed. So if you wanted to rewind, you could see how that was done. Or there's better videos on YouTube. Just, you know, do a YouTube search for angle move constraints with limits or something like that. But we're making this practice model look more and more like a real knife as we go. If we, what happened to, did I still, let's isolate this. Yeah. Put a little pocket in here so we could put a 1/16 inch thick stainless steel bearing race or washer, as you some would describe it, so that the bearing is on a steel surface instead of titanium. I have no idea how important that is. I've seen knives with both, but I decided not to put no extra milling in the blade. I think that's just extra cost. I think we just want the bearings to ride right against this surface. I mean, I guess one reason you might want to do that is just so that the bearings are offset so that dirt and grime doesn't get straight onto the bearing surface. So if you had an offset in the handle and the blade, any grime would hit the cage. It would have to be around the bearing cage to get into the bearing surface, which it still would if you go in sand or water or something. Probably likely going to get in there anyway. But I think that's an argument that could be made for having offset in both the blade and the handle. I'm not sure. I have to ask some more experienced knife people, knife makers, what they think about that. But let's just get rid of some of these edges now before we end. Let's do some. Let's just try fillet here, 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 and here. Let's just fillet the whole thing. And let's try this first. I don't know how big we can get away with. 0.2 is too much. 0.15 is probably too much. 0.1 is probably too much. Let's try something else here. Do we need to make that a different style fillet? So let's try just these first. And I'll make them big. Those can be a 1/4 inch. Now let's fillet this surface. The whole way around, I guess. See what happens. I don't know how to deselect. Let's try Alt. So if you hold Alt down and select something, it deselects it. Apparently. There's Gonzo again. Gonzo. Now, I know you don't want to do this, but if you go right now and record a quick short, throw it out there, I bet you'll pick up a couple subscribers. There we go. Now, if you want to hold me to that bet, the bet is $0, but I'll bet you throw up a short, throw up a video, do a quick vertical live stream. Do a vertical live stream just for 15 minutes, half hour. You will pick up subscribers. I'll bet at least 2, maybe 10. Especially if you get these guys to share your short or video on other social media. So let's exit editing that component and see what we got here. This is still kind of ugly, but it does look like a knife type object. Probably want to make this a little shallower. It's a little too fat. So I'd make it a little more comfortable. If I knew a little more about servicing, we could make these edges a lot cleaner without these lines. Which these lines, you wouldn't see these lines once it's machined, but you can see them in the model. There's probably ways to just turn off the visibility of them. You could probably do some fancy rendering to make it look better. Just pimp the channel on Knives Fast or Rob's Nerdy Knives. Yeah, I mean, you don't even have to spend much depending on whose channel you're going on. Throw up a $2, $5 super chat. Say, hey everyone, come subscribe to my channel. And you probably pick a few up. Spend $20 on like Metal Complex or something and get his attention and probably get you over 1,500 in no time. So yeah, Rob will be streaming tonight. Everyone, make sure you go there. He's a good guy. It's always fun watching people pick on him. Also, make him say things he wouldn't want to say. I'm happy with the progress. Make a video and name it free stuff. Yeah, but those aren't the subscribers you want, because when they find out you're not giving away free stuff regularly, they'll unsubscribe. What's going on in here, Mr. Eddie? How's it going? Good to see you. We're just messing around with CAD practice. Learned a couple things together. Put a rotational constraint, move constraint in this assembly. And right now the assembly is just one scale and the blade. I put a pocket in one scale for the bearings, and then we put the rotational constraint and then also an angular limit. So from this surface to this surface, from 0 to 180 or 180 to 0, however you're looking at it. Just so it's easier to analyze the assembly as we go. So let's save this. Save on. Why is it asking me to rebuild? So now that's saved. Let me take a quick screenshot of this. Let's close this. I'll make a quick knife stand update. Might as well do that right now before we end this. It's been an hour, so we'll probably end pretty directly. Maybe I won't do that. Knife stand, let me see. We want load the assembly. We don't want that one. Oh, wait a second. Did I already change that? Let's go back in there. Do I have another assembly? Yeah, let's look at this one. So one thing I noticed after I put this together, this one here, when you set your knife on there, the handle could hit right here. Or the blade, or, if there's a little protrusion. So what I want to do is move this out or in so that this area right here is open for your knife to sit down in. I think out is better, but if I moved it out, we would have to make it taller. And I don't think we have the material to spare for that. Actually, we wouldn't have to make it taller, but it wouldn't go all the way up to the top. That might be good enough too, as it is. So let's edit this sideboard. Edit the sketch. To move this, we'll keep. Let's isolate this so we don't see that other stuff. So we want to keep this 21, but let's put a dimension on here from here to here. Cancel this. I think I have. Those can be parallel. Coincidence between that and that. Okay, we want to get rid of this coincidence. Let's exit out of this. Yeah. I had a coincidence between this line and this point, so it wasn't able to move. So now we should be able to dimension this from here to here. Make that like, I don't know, 5 millimeters. Let's make it 3. So the thickness of the material is the thickness of this. I'm a little worried about this breaking off, but just don't manhandle your. So now those should be, let's exit the isolation. Exit that. So now you see you have a little room here between the surface that the knife is sitting on and this, and also this gap here. So if it's a thinner knife, it won't hit this board at all. This might be too thin. I don't know. What do you think? What's Gonzo talking about? Are you talking about the knife, Gonzo? Definitely don't. That we don't want that knife that we're designing to be made. Maybe the fixed blade. But if you're talking about the knife stand, they are being made by Flying Feline Designs. Follow her on Instagram. You can get one unstained plain basswood for like probably less than $15 plus shipping. For stain, add $5. For a laser logo, add $5 for each logo. So if you just wanted one here, it'd be an extra $5. So for like $25, you could have a stained, like one of 5 or 6 colors, and a logo. Have yourself a nice little knife stand. And with the old position, it works, but just certain knives might hit this. But we'll try to get this updated and try it out. I don't know if I'm going to leave this out here or just move it back similar to this one. Because this one has no problems. It's close enough to here that the knife sits down in here if there are any low pieces. But I think bringing it out just makes the logo more visible if you have your logo engraved on there. Why don't I want to make the knife? Oh, I'm not. Let's save this real quick. That folding knife is just to learn to make a knife. I have some ideas that I mean, everyone wants to be a knife designer, right? I don't necessarily want to be a knife designer, but I have some thoughts. I have some knife ideas that I'd like to see in a knife. But I probably wouldn't design them on live streams because some of the features might be unique and someone else might grab it, snatch it up. Not that I really care because, I can make a more simple design, but a more realistic design and not care if anyone steals it. Although I'd like to at least get credit, say, hey, this was designed by this idiot. So yeah, even though this is thin, it's only this little piece here. So I think this will be okay. I'll update that and maybe have her make another prototype to test it out. Maybe I'll give one away. But let's close that. Let's open up that knife just for the fun of it and take a look at it. So, top secret, we don't want to go in there. Folder, assembly. This is very ugly. I don't like this. This was just to test. This was just trying everything out, trying to make it work and look like this. And I'll keep working on this one to practice. So when I'm ready for a real knife design, then I'll do it. I'd probably want more of a what people don't like the name of a reverse Tano or modified Warncliffe sheep's foot style blade. That's just my taste. Although a clip point or a drop point isn't so bad. Actually, this blade shape isn't bad. I wouldn't mind that on a knife. But yeah, this handle looks like crap. I need to learn a little more about the surfacing and the contouring before we do any serious designs. But this is, actually, I could make this work. Yeah, no, let's not do that. It's just, it actually looks like a Kaiser, but like a Militov for dummies. All flat, straight, no contours, no shape. Maybe it's more like a Civivi. We keep tweaking it, see where it goes. But I'm just learning learning it, learning the process. I think I could actually design. I think I could make a viable design. That's not my goal at the moment. Maybe in the future. Let's turn off these temporary axes so we don't see them. Button lock and crossbar. Now, my thoughts, I think on the first one I designed, I want a push button cross frame lock or whatever you want to call it. So I'll do a frame lock because they're more simple. They're out there. But then a button that goes across and opens up the frame lock. And the way I would do it is I would have the button go across and then come down. I would have the over travel stop built into the button. Then we just need to affix it to that side scale to the lock portion. So then it's like an L shape and it comes out, the button sticks out, goes down, and is attached as an over travel stop and also the lock stop so that it would be stainless steel and the stop would hit the stainless steel instead of anything titanium. I don't know if it'll work, but I have that idea in my mind that I think would work. So anyway, yeah, we've been going hour and 13 minutes. There's probably other people live streaming. There will be. I know Rob's Nerdy Nozzle streams tonight later on in a few hours. Everyone go there. Thanks for stopping by. If you're watching on the replay, feel free to leave comments, critiques, suggestions, anything like that. I'd appreciate it. Yeah, Gonzo, why don't you fire up a stream, Gonzo, and let's get you to 1500. Just fire up a live stream. You don't have to show your face. Just go out on your patio, take a little TV tray out there and set some knives on it, and do a vertical live stream with your phone. Just do it, a half hour or till your battery starts going dead. fill in some time before the other live streams. You will get subscribers. Dan Kenman is live, it looks like. Everyone go over there. Talk to you all later. Thanks for stopping in. I do appreciate it. And it's good to see everyone. Hope your day is going well, and I hope it ends better. Talk to you all later.